Level 1 edgelord who is a king of a dark dimension climbed up a 2-story house to scout, finds nothing, jumps off of roof. 5 minutes into the game, they're dead. Welcome to the Twisted Pint Tavern. Today we're visiting r/D&D, cause yes, it's back, to check out the answers to the DMs of this subreddit. What is your moment of, are you sure you wanna do this? We're closing in on that 1,000 subscriber mark, so if you like this content, make sure to smash your pint into that subscribe button. And now onto the video. One of my players decided to shoot a dragon with a ballista at level 1, and then proceeded to Missy step onto its back, and then they tried to tame it. He died, by the way. Yeah, I feel like shooting the dragon with the ballista is okay, but as soon as you try to Missy step onto its back, that's just asking for problems. The players were at a port city investigating an enclave of Navy admirals that wanted to overthrow the governor, who is related to our party's ranger with a noble background. Due to a series of actions, the admirals were able to lure a bunch of high-ranking members of the city council into a single ship and take them hostage, demanding to the captain of the guards a series of demands, and to not attack us or else we will start to kill the hostages. Not a minute after that sentence is done, our ranger says, "I pull an arrow out and shoot the speaker." I ask him if he's sure, and the rest of the table is dumbfounded. He assures me he wants to go through with it. He fires the arrow, it hits, and kills the speaker. The other sailors look confused, look at each other, and roll for which of the 10 council members they're going to execute. I rolled a 1, the city governor, the ranger's brother. Everyone at the table loses their mind as the governor is beheaded and thrown into the sea. I do not know what was his rationale behind that, and I kinda feel guilty about it to this day. That is just the classic your actions have consequences. You were warned, don't attack, we'll kill hostages. You're too far away to stop them from killing hostages. I probably wouldn't have rolled with the chance of it being the city governor, but definitely had it be like one of the friends of the city governor, a noble or something, and then he'd really rip into the ranger for it. But either way, why would he do that? I ran a one-off with like 5 players. Most played before and they started at level 4. Scenario started in a tavern, I like it, with some background about an NPC they were supposed to talk to in post to find a treasure. I describe the tavern and its occupants. At the end, I say something like, "What would you like to do?" to the group to signal the game has begun. Immediately, the guy who has never played D&D before yells, "I throw my axe at that guy!" There was no talking him out of it. He threw his axe, and that really set the tone for the scenario. And then this reply, well, I hate to say it, but I did the same thing except with the stick. And, apologies to my poor DM, rolled a nat 20 and killed the quest giver. Well, that definitely sets a different tone for the game, because instead of starting with the quest, you're starting with the prison break. Putting a bag of holding inside a bag of holding. People who don't know about what happens with that want to try and they think that it'll work, but there's a reason it doesn't, and you only learn the hard way, and you learn that lesson once. BBEG is obsessively in love with an NPC. The party has decided to protect the NPC from the BBEG. BBEG is currently in front of the party while attacking the town they're in, and to toy with the party. The player decides to put a gun to the NPC's head, telling the BBEG to stop or else. BBEG, honestly the DM, assumes the guy is bluffing. The PC shoots the NPC. The "are you sure" comes out. He says, "Yup, that's initiative because others in the party were so not up for murdering an innocent NPC to piss off the BBEG. They managed to stop him before he pulled the trigger, thus averting the holy hell of a disaster I was going to be forced to put them through. Alienated the hell out of that NPC though, let me tell you what. Yeah, nothing says, maybe I'm not safe with these people, like one of them genuinely trying to kill you just to get to the BBEG. That doesn't track for me. My rogue was getting upset that he couldn't stab the dragon that was flying around, so he wanted to jump on it, while it was flying over a 400-foot chasm. There's a lot of dragon stories in this thread, but here in the Twisted Pint Tavern, we've got a saying, always think thrice before messing with the dragons. Come by the Discord later to hear the tales of why that exists. Level 1 edgelord who is a king of a dark dimension climbed up a 2-story house to scout, finds nothing, jumps off of roof. 5 minutes into the game, they're dead. Well, let's see, a 2-story house, that's gonna be about 20 to 30 feet if you're on the roof. So that's 3d6 fall damage potentially. And at level 1, I mean, you don't really typically have more than 10 hit points. So yeah, that's like a decent chance of killing you. Had a room where there was a 3-foot wide wooden post in the center. Nailed to it via iron spikes through the forehead were 3 clerics of different gods. Well, that's brutal. 1 good, 1 evil, 1 neutral. On the walls, sprawled in blood and deep speech was, "I do solemnly swear that blasphemy is what I strive for." I'm gonna pause here because that is one killer setup for a dungeon room. The walls practically hum with magic, and this is inside a wizard's tower with many, many traps. The monk reads the words. I asked her if she read them out loud. She wisely decided she read them in her head first. When the DM asks if you do something out loud, or like if you say something and they're like, "Do you say that in character?" Typically, you should say no. The party had talked their way into a cult. They get let through a magical, very nasty barrier into the cult stronghold. It's dusk, so I narrate that they are invited for dinner with the lower level folk and then can rest, or explore, or shank people in their sleep. The bard and ranger decide to try to go by themselves with the cult leader to the inner sanctum. Just you two? Yep, we want to see what's inside and talk to her more. Got blasted by an evil god's watcher spell. The bard now has 7 hit points, and the alarm is set off for everyone. Infiltration turned into a full-blown retreat. 2 PCs don't make it out. Everyone else is at less than 10 hit points, and 1 is cursed. So I get wanting to learn more about the cult, like there's nothing wrong with that. But when the cult leader is trying to go into the inner sanctum and all the other low-level people aren't in the inner sanctum, that might be a sign to not go to the inner sanctum. Hey, we want you to run a game. Huh, are you sure? Are you certain? Cause I can't promise what happens if I run a game. My story is from a recent game, and it's a fairly short one, though anyone who's run a goblin cave before will know it well. At the fork of the cave, you can just barely make out a goblin sitting on a crate, keeping watch. The barbarian, I sprint down the corridor and swing at him. Huh, are you sure? Yes! And the barbarian hit a tripwire that released a heavy spike-filled log suspended above them, sending it falling down directly into their space. They did nat 20 the dex save though, so I guess it turned out okay. Before we wrap up, do you like tournaments, specifically D&D tournaments? Because we're hosting one in the Twisted Pint Tavern Discord server. All you gotta do is join the server, read the tournament rules, and submit your character by the deadline of June 30th, and you'll be added to the tournament bracket. Tournament games will be streamed live in the Twisted Pint Tavern Discord server, and there is a prize for first place. So what are you waiting for? Join the Twisted Pint Tavern Discord server today. And with that, we're gonna wrap up the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you've not done so already. If you have any incredible, are you sure about that stories, don't hesitate to share them in the comments or in the Discord. Do that and you might make it into a part 2. Anyway, thank you guys again, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey, whoa, that's the strongest liquor we've got here. Are you sure you want to do that?